Hello, welcome back. Alex Phillips with you until 1 o'clock today. Today, of course, is the Reform Party conference. The station is going to be covering that as the speeches kick off. I think around sort of 3 o'clock, we're going to be talking about reform. But right now, let's keep our focus on the Labour Party because they are the party of government at present. And blimey, they seem to be without any sort of active opposition from the Conservative Party. They seem to still be painting themselves into a corner, and quite quickly, and especially when it comes to their connections to one Lord Ali, who has now been outed as lending his luxury £2 million New York flat to Angela Rayner to party it up over New Year, and has funded at least 7 cabinet ministers. I'm joined now by John Rentoul, chief political correspondent at commentator, at The Independent. John, who is this Lord Ali, and why does he like splashing the cash on Labour so much?
Well, Wahid Ali's a long-standing Labour supporter. He made his money in television when he was in his 30s. Actually, he was a wonderkind, and was made a peer by Tony Blair, and has donated money to the Labour Party and to individual Labour politicians ever since.
And do you think that any of this should raise eyebrows? Because, I mean, no one's saying necessarily that anything wrong has been done here, but, you know, giving people a flat to party in and buying new clothes and various sets of specs. I don't know about the party. But it would be the sort of thing that the Labour Party themselves would point at the Tory party and say, well, look, come on, it's not really cool that you're accepting all of these freebies from this man, then he gets a pass to number 10 Downing Street.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a mistake for Keir Starmer to have made so much of his integrity versus that of the Tory prime ministers. I mean, he attacked Boris Johnson with gusto for accepting all sorts of money from donors. He even had a go at Rishi Sunak for helicopters and all the rest of it. I mean, and now it's come back to bite him. I mean, it's his own fault. You know, most of the donations are perfectly innocent, and you know, parties will receive donations for campaigns. That's perfectly all right. But for your own suits and specs and your wife's clothes, I think that does raise. I mean, my eyebrows are raised.
I mean, not only that, Keir Starmer seems to accept more in terms of freebies since 2019 than any other sitting MP. And all these excuses being made, well, you know, he needs to have a special VIP box if he goes to watch football because of who he is. Rishi Sunak used to just stand in the terraces as Prime Minister.
No, I don't think that's right, Alex. No, I mean, I think that's legit. You know, there are issues of protection and police protection at football matches, and that does account for a large chunk of the record amounts that he's received. But no, the suits and glasses and his wife's clothes, I think, were a mistake, and I think he should pay it back.
But what about stuff like Taylor Swift tickets? I mean, he could afford to buy those himself, surely. Even if you're going to have to phone a venue and say, look, as Prime Minister, I'm coming to watch this concert, and I need to make sure that nothing bad happens to me. I think we can understand that as the general public. It doesn't mean you have to take free tickets. Couldn't have been a bit more gallant when he's been getting these freebies over the years, and actually giving them to people it would really be a life-changing moment for them. I had a Tory councillor message me the other day saying whenever he's received bits and bobs, he's put it into the local mayor's raffle for Christmas every year, and I think, well, that's a nice thing to do.
I agree. I think some of the hospitality has been questionable. I think it's a terrible mistake, and it really has come back to bite him, because it's very difficult for him to defend himself. I mean, we heard him yesterday on television going into this convoluted routine about the Arsenal box. Which, as I say, I think is possibly defensible, but you know, he hasn't really been pressed on the other things, the Taylor Swift tickets and the suits and glasses, because he hasn't really got an answer. I mean, that's just accepting money for his own benefit, and that doesn't seem to me to be right.
Yeah, and it's sort of in stark contrast to the sort of mantra we're constantly getting from the doom and gloom Labour Party, which is, well, tough choices are going to have to be made. Those with the broader shoulders are going to have to carry the burden.
Exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
People are now...
you know, at a time when you are asking pensioners on quite low incomes to accept the loss of winter fuel payments, and you're refusing to lift the limit on two-child benefits, that's it just doesn't look right to be taking this kind of money for your own personal use. I mean, taking donations for political parties is one thing, but for your own personal benefit does not seem right to me.
I want to ask you more broadly about Labour policy, because one thing I have noticed is, it was a snap election. One can forgive the fact that during a snap election, it's kind of hard to pick over every single manifesto in detail and pore over the policies in the way that one might with one of those protracted 3-month-long campaigns. Yet, it seems to me that the Labour Party manifesto is fairly threadbare, and most people just have no idea. They've been voted in with a massive majority, despite not getting a huge chunk of the vote. And people just seem to have no idea what they're going to do with the budget, for example, which is such an important key issue. You look at the manifesto, there's no mention of capital gains tax, and everyone's stressed out now that they're going to whack that up to eye-watering levels. Do you have any idea or inclination of when they talk about, well, it's going to be a difficult budget, doom and gloom, that's actually leading people to move out of the country? They're so fearful. Do you think it's going to be all that bad? What do you think is likely to be part of Labour policy?
I think it is going to be bad. I think it's going to be extremely painful, which is the word that Keir Starmer used. And actually, I mean, today, I think it was either today or yesterday, he said he didn't want to put the fear of God into people about the budget. What an extraordinary thing for the Prime Minister to say. But and I think one of the most damaging things that came out on the question of Sue Gray's pay, his chief of staff, who's getting paid more than he is. The BBC quoted a Labour advisor saying that if anyone can see any evidence of our preparation for government, do let me know. I mean, that is completely damning. And, they were not ready to enter government. They were taken by surprise by an early election, but I don't think they would have been ready anyway. They haven't got their policies in line. That's why Rachel Reeves has kicked the budget to the end of October, as late as she conceivably could, which has just meant that everybody's going to spend all their time until the budget speculating wildly about what's going to be in it.
And you have no more idea than I, it seems.
No, I don't. I mean, personally, I would have thought that they should have grasped the nettle early on, had an early budget, done the winter fuel payment thing, and reversed the national insurance cut, the most recent one that the Tories did, because that was completely unsustainable. I mean, that was virtually a Liz Truss unfunded tax cut. And it was a very bad idea, and they need the money, but that would have been breaking an election pledge straight away. So they're not going to do that. So instead, Rachel Reeves is hunting around for stealth taxes that she can sneak in here and there, which won't raise enough money. So we'll be facing the double squeeze of what people will call austerity, as well as unwelcome tax rises on some groups of people, which, as you say, some people are legging it out of the country as a result.
Yes, so much for We're Going to Be the Party of Growth. John Rentoul, Chief Political Commentator at The Independent, thank you ever so much.